Greetings, fellow dungeon delvers, and welcome to Dorans and Dragons, where we work together to come up with Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition builds for your favorite League of Legends champions. Today we're building Teemo, the Swift Scout. Now I know a lot of people hate Teemo, and trust me, as a former top lane main, I absolutely banned him every game. But it would be kind of a jerk move to meme the whole time here and not take this seriously like I've done for all the other champions. So fear not, Teemo mains, though the meme potential is high, I am electing to keep it mostly civil. On a side note, does his laugh sound haunt anyone else's dreams, or just mine? But let's talk about Teemo for a second. Teemo is a member of the Bandle City Special Forces, specifically a Bandle Scout. His signature weapon, the blowgun, uses a special poison he's gathered from the jungles of Kumungu, which is in the northern part of the larger Ishtal jungle. He's good friends with Tristana and is known to be a warm and kind-hearted person. However, once on mission, that warmth disappears into a cold, disciplined, and efficient mindset that earned him the respect of all of his superiors. Before we get started with the build, go ahead and like the video and hit that subscribe button so you're always notified when we release our builds. A quick heads up, we actually used Teemo as an inspiration for the Bandle Scout Ranger archetype in our homebrew, The Hidden City, which is listed over on DM's Guild if you want to go take a look. We'd also like to take a minute and thank our awesome patrons over on Patreon who support us every month. Thanks for helping us keep the lights on and me armed and ready. If you like our videos and want to support the channel, come join us over on Patreon today for just $1 to get access to our awesome Discord community where we talk League and D&D all day long. Alright, now let's get into it. Here's a quick preview of the build. For race, we're going with Lightfoot Halfling. Per usual, our stats are going to be determined using the standard array. For our stat priorities, we're going to max dexterity and dump intelligence. We do have a multi-class requirement of 13 in dexterity and wisdom. Our leveling path is going to be levels 1 through 4 in druid, then we'll pick up 10 levels in ranger, and finish out the build as a druid. Teemo's passive, Guerrilla Warfare, will come from Nature's Veil and Dread Ambusher. His Q, Blinding Dart, is going to come from Blindness. Our W, Move Quick, will be the Long Strider spell. His E, Toxic Shot, will come from the Poisoner feat. And finally we get our ultimate, Noxious Trap, from Spreading Spores. For race, we're going with Lightfoot Halfling. They start off with a +2 to Dexterity and a +1 to Charisma, and have a bunch of little features. Naturally Stealthy is going to feel right at home with Teemo, letting you hide behind creatures as long as they're one size or higher than you. Same with Halfling Nimbleness, which is going to let you run freely through the space of any creature larger than you. They're also Brave, giving you advantage on saving throws against being frightened. And finally, the most true about Teemo, because I can't believe that last tick of poison triggered Summon Area and killed me, the Lucky feature. When you roll a 1 on any attack, ability check, or save, you re-roll the die, but you have to use the new roll. The odds of nat 1ing twice in a row are very small, so this is going to be a huge help almost all of the time. For background, we're going with Teemo's role as a Bandle Scout by choosing City's Watch. He's a member of Bandle City Special Forces, which is going to give you proficiency and insight in the Watcher's Eye feature. Watcher's Eye is going to let you spot your fellow BCSF outposts and also find the crime dens of the area you're in. For stats, we're going with the standard array to pretend those mushrooms are balanced when they can 100 to 0 me while I'm trying to walk through our jungle and just kill a camp or clear vision. I'm not bitter. We'll start this off with our dexterity to 15 because Teemo is the Swift Scout after all, and we're going to be relying on dexterity to help us land our poison darts. Wisdom is next, thanks to his survival and scouting skills. After that, we'll take charisma at a 13, because if he's able to befriend Tristana, then he's clearly got more charm than Rumble. Constitution is after that, because we need to be able to shrug off our own poison if we get it on ourselves. Our strength is going to be average, and we'll dump intelligence, because maybe I am a little bitter. For equipment, we're going to give ourselves a nice set of studded leather armor for protection in the forest, and obviously a blowgun so we can yeet our poison darts out to the masses. Alrighty, let's kick off the build with some levels in Druid to get this little devil his poison and his shrooms. Druids have a D8 hit die and give us proficiency with light and medium armor, shields, and a bunch of weapons. None of which is our blowgun. So if you're starting low levels in the build, you may want to take a level in Ranger first instead, or you'll have a little bit of a harder time hitting your opponents with it. But we'll also pick up skill proficiencies in Perception and Survival, and learn the Druidic language. Druidic is a symbolic language that only you and other druids know and can use to communicate amongst each other. First level druids also learn first level spells and cantrips. We're going to pick up one each here. For our cantrip, we're going to pick up an early version of our E with Poison Spray. Poison Spray lets you fire off a puff of poisonous gas towards any creature and force a con save on it, dealing 1d12 poison damage if they fail. Remember, your cantrips scale with level, so later on in the build when Poisoner falls off, you can switch to this. For our level 1 spell, we're going with Long Strider to get our W. Long Strider is a non-concentration spell that lasts an hour and boosts your movement speed by 10 feet. That's it. Very simple, but a very cool way to give Teemo that little extra speed he deserves. Second level druids get Wild Shape and choose their Druidic Circle. We're going to skip Wild Shape for this build, since the charges are going to be used via our Druid Circle abilities. Speaking of our Druid Circle, we're going with Circle of Spores, flavored as the poison Teemo collects from the jungle. Circle of Spores is going to give us our Q next level thanks to an expanded spell list, along with Halo of Spores and Symbiotic Entity. Halo of Spores is going to let you unleash some of your poison onto creatures who make the foolish mistake of getting too close to you. Whenever someone moves within 10 feet of you or starts their turn in that range, you can burn your reaction to force a con save on them or deal 1d4 necrotic damage. Symbiotic Entity is going to let you spend your wild shape charges to enhance your Halo. You expend a charge and gain 4 temporary hit points. While that temporary hit points remain, your Halo of Spores damage gets to be rolled twice, and any melee weapon attacks deal an extra 1d6 necrotic damage. Plead a little bit with your DM to let it apply to your blowgun as well, but don't hold your breath. Level 3 druids learn second level spells. Thanks to our Druid Circle, we'll pick up the Blindness and Deafness spell, which is going to be our Q. The spell lets you choose a creature and force a con save on it. If it fails, the target is blinded for 1 minute, with the chance to make a con save at the end of each of its turns to end the effect. It says Teemo's max blind duration is 3 seconds, but I think a minute is far more accurate in terms of how you feel when you're Jax just whacking away at this little guy, and he's spamming emotes and laughing while you're ignited and poisoned and burning out to Leandries, and I'm definitely bitter. 4th level druids get the first ability score improvement of the build. As always, we're going to break them all down for you here, so you can pick and choose along the way. At 4th level druid, we're going to pick up the strong early and mid-build version of Teemo's E with the Poisoner feat. Poisoner is going to give us proficiency with the Poisoner's Kit and let us spend an hour of our time and 50 gold to create a number of poisons based on our proficiency bonus. We can apply those poisons to our blowgun ammo as a bonus action and deal 2d8 poison damage on top of our weapon damage, which also poisons the creature. And the icing on top of all of that is that your poison damage now ignores resistances. So take that, nearly every creature in the book that's resistant to poison damage. At 4th level Ranger, we'll pick up the Sharpshooter feat, giving us the max range on our blowgun and letting us ignore 1/2 and 3/4 cover. On top of those cool features, we can take a -5 to hit and add +10 to the attack's damage. The blowgun's damage is kinda disappointing, so I'd recommend taking this to make up for that. At Ranger 8, we'll take the Gunner feat. Now I know Teemo isn't a gunner, and during the build stream, we came up with Piercer to round off this odd ASI, but thinking about it again, I realized you don't actually roll damage die with the blowgun, so the other features beyond the +1 to dex are worthless. So if we take Gunner, we at least get that +1 to dex, and we can remove the 5-foot dead zone for ranged attack rolls. And then at Druid 8, we'll max our dexterity with 2 points. Alrighty, time to swap over to some levels in Ranger to get our scout vibe on. Rangers have a d10 hit die and give us proficiency in martial weapons, so if you didn't have that blowgun proficiency before, you do now. We'll also get a skill proficiency in stealth. Thanks to Tasha's, we're wiping away the yucky Player's Handbook Ranger features and going with Deft Explorer and Favored Foe. Deft Explorer is going to give us expertise in stealth, letting us double our proficiency bonus for those checks. Favored Foe is going to let us mark creatures when we hit them, dealing an extra 1d4 damage initially, then an additional 1d4 damage each of the following turns. 2nd level Rangers learn a fighting style. We're going to improve our blowgun skills with Archery, which is going to give us a +2 to our attack rolls, which will help offset the -5 from Sharpshooter. Level 3 Rangers choose their Ranger archetype. For our Ranger archetype, we're going to prowl through our jungle and decimate our prey as a Gloomstalker. Gloomstalkers get Dread Ambusher and Umbral Sight. Dread Ambusher is going to give us a nice initial boost of damage. First, we get to add our Wisdom score to our initiative, and on the first turn of combat, we gain a 10-foot movement speed, and we can make an additional weapon attack as part of our action. and if that extra attack hits, it deals 1d8 damage on top. Umbral Sight is going to give us 60 feet of dark vision, and allow us to evade creatures who can only detect us through their dark vision. Level 5 Rangers get extra attack, letting us make 2 attacks per action instead of just 1. Keep in mind we won't be able to apply our poison to both attacks because of the bonus action application, but it'll still improve your damage as long as you're sharpshooting. 6th level Rangers improve their Deft Explorer and Favored Foe. Deft Explorer is now going to give an additional 5 feet of walking speed, and a climbing and swimming speed equal to your walking speed. On top of that, Favored Foe's damage is going to increase to 1d6. Level 7 Rangers gain Iron Mind, giving us proficiency in Charisma saving throws since we're already proficient in Intelligence saves. It might not seem like much, but it could save you when the mind magic starts flying around. 8th level Rangers gain Land Stride, letting us ignore non-magical difficult terrain and hazards. And if you have to make a save against ones that are magical, you have advantage. 10th level Rangers gain Nature's Veil, which is going to let you use your bonus action to blend into the brush and become invisible until the start of your next turn, like your passive. You can also use it to disengage, because if your enemies can't see you, they can't make opportunity attacks against you. Skipping back over to Druid, we're going to skip all the way up to our capstone, because none of the other features we gain are really valuable to Teemo. But at 10th level Druid, we'll get our ult with Spreading Spores. As a bonus action, while your symbiotic entity is active, you can toss your spores up to 30 feet away, where they'll exist as a 10-foot cube of sadness for a minute. Whenever a creature moves into that cube or starts their turn there, they're going to take your Halo of Spores damage unless they make a con save. Alrighty, now that we've completed the build, let's see how we did. First, the good. We got Teemo's Poison and his Shrooms. Plus with our levels in Ranger, we have plenty of scouting ability. Now the bad. D&D's version of the blowgun is super disappointing. I'd recommend asking your DM to reflavor a hand crossbow possibly, or hopefully giving you a magical one to compensate. And honestly, worse than that is that he exists and needed to be built in the first place. So what'd you think? I've included a link to this build via D&D Beyond in the description below, as well as Amazon links to the books used in this build. If you enjoy this type of content, please consider supporting us on Patreon. We have a few awesome rewards and you get access to our great Discord community. We plan on turning out one League Champion build every week. Thanks for watching and hopefully we'll catch you on the Rift, or in the Forgotten Realms.